All right, everyone, it is still cloudy and raining. It has been cloudy, I swear, for 6 months. I don't know. It's been a long time since we've seen a nice, warm, sunny day. But with that being said, it is now May 26th, I believe, 25th, something like that. And the garden had to get planted. So got out here today. It's supposed to rain a little more today, and then maybe the sun's going to come out for a couple days later this week. We're hoping. The temperature's been like 40 and raining nonstop though, so it hasn't been a good time to plant. But we're gonna plant now, cross our fingers, and hope for the best. So this year we've done something a little different with the trellis. As you can see here, we went and got some cattle panel from Tractor Supply. These are 16-foot cattle panels. There's two of them together. Slight overlap in the middle. Let's see if I can show you that overlap. You can see it here. Right now we just have them zip tied together, but I'll change these to something more permanent at some point. But you can see there's an overlap here. So the panel is there and the panel is there. So with these being 32-foot panels, my rows being 30 feet, we have about 2 feet of overlap. A little over a foot, because I guess we have a little bit hanging over the ends as well. But the trellises are really for the tomatoes and the tomatillos. We didn't grow any ground cherries this year. We still have a bunch of ground cherry jam from last year, so I didn't feel like we needed any. But we have lots of tomatoes in the ground, planted every 3 feet or so, just so that we can trellis them up here. Hopefully they'll do well. If they get really big and start hanging over, we can probably put some string between these and let them set up there. We don't have a 4 or 5 month growing season, so I don't expect that they should get 6-7 feet long, but if they do, we have the space. So all of these are planted in. These are all everything that you see out here: tomatoes, peppers, tomatillos, sunflowers, all the other stuff I'm going to show you. These are all started by seed from us. We do all of this ourselves. The tomatoes are a mix between some hybrids that we grew last year, a family heirloom from the wife's family, and some cherry tomatoes that we have been propagating for the better part of a decade. So it's just kind of a mix. Here at the end, we have 4 tomatillos. These things, we grew tomatillos for the first time last year, and the ground cherries, and they just got absolutely gigantic. So right now what I'm hoping is that I can kind of confine them to the first, 5-6 feet of this, tangle them up, pull them out as they grow, because they grow real branchy, and those branches went on the ground and filled in the area. I'm hoping we can avoid some of that this year by training them up this trellis and moving them around. But we're gonna see. The tomatillos have come up pretty nicely though. So they look ready. Start on this aisle. We've got a bunch of peppers that are in here. We grow a good variety of peppers because we like to use them, both hot and sweet peppers. The wife and I both enjoy hot food. So we do grow a lot of spicy, like jalapenos and chilies and things of that nature. But also we like some sweet peppers as well. So this one here is a Thai, so that's a hot pepper. And I'm not going to go through all of them to tell you exactly the types they are, because that would get boring in the video. But here's another one. Let's see. This is this is an unknown clear. So I had a clear packet of pepper seeds that I didn't know what kind of pepper it was. So I couldn't remember what I put in that packet, so I figured I'd grow a few of those and then see what they are, see if I want to actually keep those seeds. But the seeds did germinate well. This one looks really nice. This must be a chili, because it's got this like reddish color on the inside. The chilies usually have like a purple color. Let's see what this guy is. Oh, that's a blot actually. That's a bell pepper. Surprising. Interesting. All right, well, that's a nice looking bell pepper. So yeah, we've got these all going in here. Down at the end down here, we have some peppers on the trellises. And that's just because we ran out of tomatoes to put in there. And some of these peppers did get a little leggy. Mostly because they were in pots for too long. I was hoping to have them out a week and a half ago. But it's just been so cold and rainy that I was unable to do it. So if they were really leggy, I put them against that. And that way we can use the trellis to try to support them a little bit. You can see that some of these are already starting to grow some little fruits. These are Arribas. Arribas are the yellow jalapenos that we grew last year. Those things grew amazing. That's got to be one of my favorite jalapenos that we've ever grown. They are super prolific. The fruit is very tasty, very spicy, which is good. A lot of jalapenos can be pretty mild. I like that spiciness. So those Arribas we really liked. This is another version. This isn't a yellow one. This is just a plain old jalapeno that we got from Johnny Selected Seeds last year. Really like those as well. Our jalapenos did amazing last year, so I'm hoping we get a similar crop this year. But all this is growing, doing well. Come over here, and this is all sunflowers. So these are mammoth sunflowers down on this end. It goes up to where this tray is. I use the tray just to remind myself. The blue pots were this way, and those were the mammoth. The black pots are this way. And these are like sunburst or something like that. Let's see, what are they called? Evening color sunflower. Yeah, so these were a different type, but there's a whole bunch of those as well. So this row here in the middle is going to be beans. I've got to still plant the green beans. I have not planted them yet. Still a little cold, and I'm worried if I put them in the ground, they'll rot. Beans usually grow pretty fast and give you a little extra time. So we will hopefully get some beans in the ground in the next week or so. Maybe the middle of this week when it warms up. A couple of T-posts that are left over from this project here. We have piles of T-posts, but just from this project, I didn't need these two. We'll probably keep these because I need to do some pea work over here, and I'll show you that here in a second. Hop over this fence. So I need to put one of these fences around that bed as well. Keep the deer out. So over here, it's a little weedy, but once again, it's been raining nonstop, so I haven't had a chance to work on it. But this is all garlic. The garlic's doing extremely well. Very, very healthy looking garlic, doing great. That'll be ready to harvest in July or August. But for right now, it just looks terrific. Down here, we have some seedlings. You can kind of make out some rows right here. Those are carrots. These were all started a while back. And then before that, in this row, it's kind of hard to see because they look almost like weeds, but these are the onions. So we planted the onions a couple weeks ago. The onions didn't grow super well for us this year. We had a pretty bad failure of onions. We bought seed starting mix from one of the dollar stores around here, one of the discount stores, and that seed starting mix must have been bad. Everything that we started in that in mid-February died about 3 weeks after it sprouted. It just all got brown and kind of died. So I had one packet of seeds left. This is really disappointing for us because we had 2 packets started plus all of our leeks. We don't have any leeks now because they all died. But we had 1 packet of seeds left. This is called Blush. It's a hybrid between, I think it's a mix between a red and a yellow onion. Never grown it before. I was saving these seeds just in case anything happened. So these got started about a month late. They'll still produce, we'll still get onions. They just might not be as big and as healthy as we would have wanted. But the onion row is here. It's all planted. It does need some weeding. Once again, it's been raining nonstop. I have not had a chance to get out here and weed. But that's the onion. So we have a row and about a third or a quarter. And then we have carrots. So you can see I did 2 different types of carrots. I don't know if you can make those out there, but these are little ones that are just coming up. And then here's some other ones, 2 different types. One grow much faster than the other, clearly. If you look there, we already have, that is a squash beetle. So we need to kill that guy. We do not want that guy running around our garden because we don't have any squash planted yet because it's been cold. But we will be planting squash very soon. Okay, so continue on. I got some weeds I got to pull out. We've left the carrots here, and now we're into beets. These are beets. Everything's growing well. And then the next project that we have to do with those stakes, as I was mentioning earlier, the T-posts, is I've got to put a couple of T-posts in here with some string between them because these are our English peas. These are all coming up very nicely. We like peas in stuff like stir fry and whatever. I'm not a big like eating peas by themselves person, but I think fresh peas are a little different. They taste really, really good. They're pretty sweet. They have a nice pop of flavor. So we plant these. Hopefully we can get a good crop. Last year we had really bad germination. I think it was just too dry in the spring. This year we've done much better. We've got some gaps here, like right here, there's nothing, but there's one there. There's also one there. Looks like this one is just starting to come up. So we've got a little bit of gaps in the germination, but it has been cold and rainy, and supposedly that's what peas like. So maybe that's been good for us. So okay, we're finished with the onions here. Now we're gonna get into rows of potatoes. The next 2 rows are potatoes. So here's some purple potatoes that are just starting to come up. Potatoes are one of those things that you can plant a couple weeks before your last frost because they're underground. If it gets a frost, it shouldn't really hurt them that bad. And even if we got a frost when the leaves were coming up, they would get knocked back but come back again. You can see they're all starting to come up. Here's some, here's some more. These are all coming up. Up here is a different variety, which you can tell because they're not coming up just yet, but here's the first one that I see of this variety. I believe those were Adirondack Blue down there, and these here were a russet variety. And then over here we have another row of potatoes. You can see they're starting to come up. There's one there, and there's one there. Got some more here and here. These are Yukon Gold, I believe, that were in this one. And that just continues on down. So we have nothing just popping up in here yet. The potatoes were planted a week and a half ago, so take a little while. Another thing I planted today was some of our brassicas. So we have some kales. We have 2 broccolis here. I'm not gonna grow a lot of broccoli this year. They take a lot of space up in the garden and they don't give you a ton of vegetable. I like the taste of the fresh broccoli. We eat a lot of broccoli, but I just can't justify giving them so much garden space because we just get so little broccoli out of them. You know, you get 1 head basically from a plant, and then you might get a couple of side shoots. But that's a lot of space to get just a little bit of broccoli that's a couple dollars in the store. So I think we're probably gonna stick to buying broccoli most of the time. We'll grow a little bit for fresh salads, but that's it. And then the rest of this down here is all cabbages. We have 2 kinds of cabbages in the ground here. We'll succession plant the cabbage. So as this cabbage is really close to being ready, we'll go ahead and put some fresh ones in because you can do that. Same thing with where the garlic is. When the garlic is harvested, I'll have some cabbage ready to go in there because that'll be our fall cabbage. This will be our spring and summer cabbage. This row right here has got nothing in it because it's going to be squashes. So all of our winter squashes, we've got, I think, 6 plants downstairs in the basement still growing. It's just too cold to put them out yet. They're gonna go here. And then this big patch up here is all planted with sweet corn. I planted the sweet corn about a week ago. It has been cold. Sweet corn does not like the cold, but I got it in the ground just to get it started. And now, once it warms up, it'll come up. Hopefully we won't have too much rot. I did this last year and the year before, and it worked very well. As long as you get a few warm days in there, the corn will pop up. It might not come up perfectly evenly, but we live in a cold place and you're not gonna get exact germination that you might get like if I lived in Georgia or something. But you can see there are some weeds in here. That's okay. The weeds will get bumped out as the corn starts to grow. Once I can see exactly where the corn was, I had some rows in here, but the rain over the last week has kind of batted it down. So I can't really see, so I don't want to go walking in there. I'll wait to see the corn coming up in its little rows, and then I can walk between the rows and I can start plucking the weeds out. The squash that we plant, the winter squashes, we'll just train them into the corn. That works really, really well. The squash likes having the space to go. It can roam around inside there. It'll probably even come out the far side. That's what happened 2 years in a row. But then as we harvest the corn in the fall, all the squashes are inside the corn rows. We just take cut the corn out, take the squash, and the squash is ready because the squash is usually ready after the corn. So that works out perfectly. Now I know the Three Sisters method, right? Like we would have some beans in here. I don't do that. I like to grow bush beans, not vining beans or pole beans. So we're just going to have the squash in here. The bush beans will be in the other garden bed. So that's what we got going on for right now in the garden. I've finally got it all planted. Like I said, we're at the tail end of May here. It's been a lot of work. We had to get the beds cleared up, get everything going. It takes time, especially when it's raining and cold like it's been. It's been so miserable this spring. Anybody that lives in New England has probably complained at least once about the weather. The weather this spring has just been atrocious. But yeah, so this is what it's looking like. This is one more thing I can show you here. You can go over here and I can show you where our asparagus is. We've already harvested this year's asparagus. We've been eating it. These are some of the ones that we leave. So you got to leave some asparagus to grow so the plant can continue to function. But this is what asparagus looks like when it gets tall. You can see a young one there. It looks kind of like an asparagus that you get in the grocery store. But they come up into these long spears and they'll grow. They're kind of ugly when they get bigger. I don't know exactly why they're so ugly, but they are. But here's another one you can see here. Like, that's what they look like. And if you look at the bottom down there, you can see we cut one off. That's one that we ate. It looks like there's another one maybe growing right there. Yeah, I don't know if you can make that out, but in the back there. So yeah, so we've harvested a good amount of those. We ate them. They were delicious. We really like the fact that you can get them in the spring. It's nice to get some sort of early season food out of the yard, but you can see that there's plants kind of scattered all in here. This bed was left like this from the previous owners of this house. It's not the best shape. We've tried and failed miserably to get rid of all of these ferns. They are just like impossible to kill. I'm contemplating at some point digging up all of these asparagus because they are delicious, digging them all up, just using the tractor to scrape the whole thing out of here, bring the tiller in, till it up, put some fresh compost down, and then replant the asparagus. I don't know how else we can possibly get through it. Next up is our rhubarb. The rhubarb is doing really well. This is super tall, 3.5 feet tall. Leaves are nice and green. We have been cutting back some flowers. The rhubarb will occasionally flower, and the flower just takes away from the plant. You know, it'll spend all of its energy on the flower. So we tend to cut the flowers back. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can see inside of here, it's starting to look like rhubarb. There's some red down there, some speckles on there. This rhubarb is pretty delicious. We made rhubarb jam with it last year. Very, very yummy. So we like the fact that the rhubarb's here. It's also a good early season crop for us. And the blueberries are all flowering, which is nice. Got the little bell-shaped blueberry flowers here. Looking terrific. These blueberry bushes, as I've told you in the past videos, are really old. They are real tall, like I'm 6 feet tall, and that portion up there is probably 8 feet tall. Really, really tall, really, really old. You can see some of these branches have like lichens growing on them. They're so old. We do need to still do some cleanup in these blueberry bushes. There's a little bit of dead branches here and there like this that just need to be trimmed out. But we've been working at this the last couple of years. Down to the bottom here was really, really a mess when we first moved in. Now we're kind of thinning it out. We've been working on it. It's a work in progress for sure. But even while we're working on it, we're able to get blueberries. These things produce like crazy. They're such prolific producers. It's great. We get a lot of blueberries in the middle of the summer from these bushes. And I don't know what the owners were doing, what the old owners were doing with this one. This guy's like in the middle of some weird contraption that they built. I'm guessing that at some point maybe they hung a net over it. We haven't had too much problem. Let me knock on some wood here. We haven't had any problem with the birds taking more than we notice. But you can see some weeds got up in here. This one just doesn't look as good. The blueberries do come on it, but it's just not as good. So I don't know, maybe this one at some point will move and just kind of take this thing down. If you can make it out over there, but the neighbors got their calves. Let's see. Got calves on the pasture there. We've also got calves on the pasture over here. Cute little buggers. They're doing, what they do. The neighbor takes care of those. They are the neighbor's cattle, but on our land. We allow the neighbor to have his cattle nursery area here. So the calves hang out here during the summer with their moms. And then, that we get meat from the neighbors, when the calves are sent to slaughter in a couple of years. And you can see, it looks like there's a little bit of sun coming out on the mountains over there. Just a little bit. So that'd be nice. If we could actually get some sun, I would greatly appreciate it. The other thing that's in bloom right now is our orchard. We had some logging done in the winter behind the house, so that's where the logger came out. So it's kind of muddy over there, and I can't really easily get the mower over there. But I do have to mow this whenever we actually get a dry day because, we have a lot of apple trees and pear trees over here. One peach tree. So there's a peach tree, a wild plum, I believe it is, or an American plum, and then all the rest is apples and pears. We have a European pear, an Asian pear, and a bunch of different apple varieties. The apples all are very well flowered out right now. So are the Asian pear, which is great because we really like the Asian pears. And the apples gave us a good amount of apples last year, and they're pretty delicious. Some sort of like Macintosh mix over there. Another one is maybe like a Honeycrisp. And the others are just ones that we've planted recently. So we probably won't get many apples off the center trees, but we will off the trees on the left. And we're hoping that we get more Asian pears. The Asian pear is that real tall one in the middle, and it is just covered in flowers right now. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for right now. The garden is all planted. I'll check in with you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll have the beans in the ground and the corn will be popping up, and see what this is all going to look like. And yeah, thank you for watching. We enjoy creating these videos for family and friends out of town, and anybody else that's listening, you're watching. We got 500 and something subscribers, and it's definitely not all family and friends at this point. So yeah, thanks for taking the time watching the video. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If this is your first time watching the video, feel free to subscribe. We talk a lot about gardening. We talk about homesteading, our chickens, our pigs, our dogs, the whole deal. So yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell and you'll get notified when we make new videos. Hope everyone has a great end of their May. I hope that we get some sunshine, and look at that, a little bit of blue is coming through. I almost forgot that there was blue behind those clouds. That's amazing. All right, on that note, hope everyone has a great day. See you later.